Hello. Morning. Can I show you Steps Challenge? Certainly. Good morning.
Morning. Hi, I'm Karen. I'm one of the practice development nurses in the trust.
The 15 Steps Challenge is a patient experience toolkit. It's a challenge that aims to look at wards through the eyes of a patient.
This is a good ward, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yes, it is.
There is absolutely no substitute to talking to staff and patients. Boardroom reports only tell part of the picture. It's by talking with those we serve, patients and indeed staff, that we get a much more authentic and complete account.
Did you feel that it was welcoming and a nice space?
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Hello, we're part of the 15 Steps Challenge team. Can we come in, please? Thank you.
The challenge got its name from a workshop that we did last year where a mum whose daughter was a regular inpatient, she came along to the workshop and said, I can tell what kind of care my daughter's going to get within 15 steps of walking onto every ward. And that seemed like a really important challenge to us. So we worked with patients and we worked with staff and board members and relatives, and we designed a toolkit really that helps us look at first impressions through the eyes of a patient.
My name's Tracy, I'm one of the nurses. This is Phil, he's actually a lay member.
Yeah.
How's it been on the board?
Well, I mean, the first time I've been on this one.
Is it?
I think we talk a lot about values and behaviours in the Trust, and I think changing values and behaviours so that everybody is aware of what it's like to be a patient or a visitor coming onto the ward for the first time. The 15-Step Challenge helps us do that. It's all about first impressions.
Today we're at Nottingham University Hospitals and we're doing the 15 Steps Challenge in the whole hospital in one day.
I think what we wanted to do is not do it sort of piecemeal, like 6 wards one month, 6 wards the next. We wanted to get that instantaneous feedback so we could then get some things that we could work on and actually incorporate the views from patients and our sort of population that we serve all in one go.
So could you tell me what your first impressions were when you walked onto this ward?
Friendly. The team at NUH have pulled together a huge range of volunteers. They've recruited all of their exec and board team and senior leadership, and they've got everybody out on all 80 wards in one day, which is just fantastic.
To have the reassurance that hospitals are actually looking at this from a patient perspective. I know that they've thought about what it would be like for me coming onto a ward, probably reassures me. And if they can get that out to their prospective patients, I think that'd be really good for people coming in.
As a senior nurse, it can be quite easy to go to meetings and see people's results from audits and studies and all that kind of thing. But I really wanted to get onto the ground floor, the shop floor, if you like, and actually see it. So, you know, seeing's believing.
The reason I chose to do it was I wanted other people to go on my ward and say, what wants improving, what's really good, and what do you want improving? Because the only way you're going to know is a fresh pair of eyes coming in and telling you.
What happens in the 15 Steps Challenge is we have a ward walk-around team, a small challenge team that consists of a patient representative or a patient, a member of staff, not from that ward, and a board member. And those 3 people, or sometimes there might be an extra person, come onto a ward and they walk around and they just observe and they listen and they use all of their senses and get a gut feeling, and they try and unpick what some of those first impressions are about. And we ask ourselves 4 key questions. Is it welcoming?
Hello. Is it Suzanne?
Suzanne, yes, that's me.
Diane Grant, one of the members.
Is it safe?
Oh, so come on here. They're not filming.
Is it going to care for me? And is it well organised and calm? And although those are only 4 questions, they're underpinned by the CQC essential standards. So it maps against the regulatory framework that hospitals are having to adhere to anyway.
My first impression is basically what the parents say about the care. It was described to us as absolutely brilliant, can't fault it, and the staff are amazing. That's what's going to stay with me from my visit to the ward.
Very positive. I was very impressed with the welcome we received, both on the buzzer and from the receptionist. It was very much a hi, can I help you, take you to the ward assistant. Thought the ward assistant was great.
All the families that we spoke to gave some good feedback on the information. They told why they were there, what was happening to them, that sort of thing. Some of them been there for quite a few days, and they kept involved at all times, so that was particularly good.
Just looking in the bathrooms and the wash areas, they're lovely, and I'd be more than happy to go and have my shower in there in the morning.
The doors that should have been locked were locked. The various things that we saw behind doors, they were safe and tidy and clean, so that reassured me.
Any staff particularly stood out as giving you good care, or?
Every member of staff has been absolutely first class.
So the nurses are saying, can we get you anything? Do you want anything? All through the night. So they're looking after me as well. Yeah, so it's brilliant, really good.
15 Step definitely does fit in with Trust's strategic priorities. Our aim is to be the best trust by 2016, and this is another vehicle that we can use to enable us on that journey.
Is that reassuring as a patient?
It is, yes, to see that confidentiality is taken very seriously, yes.
I think top tips for doing 15 steps is to get your lay public on board as soon as possible. The other thing is to get your executive team on board, because you need that executive sponsor.
Oh, we've got the staff board. So we know who's who.
Oh, it's good that they've got the doctors out there as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the key things is for us has been the ward sister, because very often she doesn't get the opportunity to go and visit other wards. So not only is it a really good networking opportunity, but it's about sharing good practice and learning from each other.
Many of us have worked here for many, many years, and we see it through the same eyes every day, and so it'd be really good to get some feedback on what it looks like to an outsider.
My ward staff are now more aware of how important first impressions are. It's raised the importance of it, so now we are striving to make sure that those first impressions do count.
If we really listen to patients about their experience of care on wards and unpick what's working really well and do more of that, then we can provide a much more positive experience for patients when they come into our hands for care.
It's been a really sort of humbling and a wonderful experience all rolled into one.
I think the board coming out onto the wards, showing ourselves to be interested, caring and thoughtful, just as many of the staff are, I think that's what we should be doing all the time.
We are going to do it again in 6 months' time, and to evaluate what improvements we've made and look for further opportunities for further improvements in the future. It's not put us off, so we're going to do it again.
When you're a patient or a visitor like I am, the first impression does make a lot of difference to how you feel about the ward in the long term. And if it feels welcoming, if it feels caring, if it feels open, then I think that's something worth working towards.
Where are you going now? Oh, I'll look on my list. Yes. We are going to the delivery suite.
Bit different.
Yes. So that's on B floor, East block. Purple, East block. Thanks.